So, simple versus compound interest. There are two formulas you need to remember for your next. Well, actually, you don't need to memorize it since we're going to do an assignment instead of a test. But on the final exam, you will need to memorize these two formulas. Okay, it's not too bad. Just a few letters. You can do it. Okay. One is simple interest, one is compound interest. Which one do you think banks offer? Okay, who says simple interest? Who says compound interest? Yes, so compound interest. Why do banks offer compound interest? Is because the difference between the two is simple interest, they just give you an amount at the end of each term, and then that's it's the same amount every term. So for example, if you earn $100 in interest every year, the second year, no matter how much more is in that account, you still just get that 100. And the third year, you still get that 100. Compound interest, the difference with this is you earn interest on interest. Okay, so so that means if let's say that first year you earn $100 in interest, the second year you earn interest on that 100 that they gave you as well. So in other words, you get more and more each year. And so why do banks give you compound interest then? Won't they want to rip you off and make more money off you? Well, imagine if let's say RBC offer simple interest, but TD Bank offers compound interest. Who's everybody gonna go to? TD, right? That's for the compound, right? And so because one bank does it, that means all the banks is gonna follow and do it as well. Okay, just like with mortgage interest rate as well. If one bank offers a really low mortgage rate, the other has to match it because they don't want to lose that customer. Alright, so how do we use these formula? What do they mean? What do all these letters mean? I represent interest. Right? P stands for principal amount. R is the rate, the interest rate, the actual rate, usually in a percentage for yearly percent. And then T is the time. Compound interest, same, P means the same thing. Alright. A will represent the amount at the end. So not the interest, but the amount you have at the end in your account. I is the interest rate, but why I use the R here and the I here is because this one is a yearly rate. This one is interest rate, and it depends on how often it's paid out. So for compound interest, it may not be paid out every year. It could be paying out every month. It could be paying out every 6 months, every quarter, and so forth. So I represents the interest rate, and you have to calculate how often it's paid out. And then N is the number of total payouts for the term. Okay, so now let's put in some numbers so that this formula makes sense. Lucy, she invested $3,000 in a savings plan that pays simple interest at 3.5% per year for 4 years. How much will she have by the end? Okay, so the fact that it says simple interest in the question, which formula do you think we should use? The first one. How did you guess? What a guess. So I equals PRT. Okay. What is the principal amount? 3,000. That's how much she is investing at the beginning. What is the rate? Rate. 3.5%. So percent. Do we put percentages in calculations? What do we have to do? Yep. decimal. So what is 3.5% as a decimal? Brianna? Sorry? 0.035. If you say 0.35, you're talking about 35%. So remember, 3.5% equals that by dividing 100. Okay, so 0.035. And then Dikshan, how long is my investment for? 4 years. Okay, let's calculate that. So do that on the calculator. 3,000 times 0.035 times 4, you get $420. So, have I answered the question? No, because my question was how much will she have by the end of the 4 years? Okay, so if I say at the end of 4 years she will have $420 in her account, that sounds wrong because she started off with 3,000. How did she get less? So what do you have to do with these two numbers? Add them together. Add the 3,000. That was yours originally. It was in the bank account. So don't forget to add it on. So the amount at the end is your principal plus your interest. So it's going to be $3,420. Okay. If I were to ask an extension of this question, so how much interest did she earn each year? Yeah. 105, because over the 4 years she got $420. So if you divide that by 4, that means each year she earned $105. Okay. And example 2. Daniel invested $2,000 in an account that earns interest at a rate of 2% compounded monthly. How much will he have at the end of 4 years? Right? So looking at this question right here, what's that key word to tell you which formula you should use? Compound. Excellent. So this word right here, compounded, means you should use this formula. Okay, so the question does tell you. So A equals P times 1 plus I to the power of N. So principal, what's my principal amount? 2,000. Again, principal doesn't mean Mr. Papooses. It means the original amount. How much you invest, not principal. Okay, $2,000. 1 plus. So this part is where you need to do some side math on the side. What's your interest rate? 2%. What is that as a decimal? 0.02. See, you guys learned fast. Okay, but why I have to do some math on the side is because of this word. Compounded monthly, which means they're paying you every month. This is an annual rate. They pay you 2% for the whole year. So if I want for just the month, what do I have to do to this interest? Yep, divided by 12. That's it. So every time you do compound interest for the I, you have to divide it by the term. So 0.02 divided by 12. Yep, you're going to get a really ugly number, but that's okay. 0.0016666666. All right. Try to keep as many decimal as you can on the calculator because otherwise you're going to get rounding error. So plus 0.001666666666, and then N. How long is my investment for? 4 years. But if you take a look at the definition up here, N represents number of payouts. So in the 4 years, how many times are they paying you? 48. What did you do?
4 times 12.
Times it by 12. Because I'm paying you every month over 4 years. So in total, that's 48. Okay. If you want to memorize this instead of understanding it, you always divide, and you always times. Okay, so keep that in mind. You're always dividing, and then N, you're always multiplying. Yeah. Okay, so now I can put this in the calculator. If you have a calculator that shows you exactly like what you're typing, okay, then you can just type it in as is like this. If your calculator doesn't show you what you type, then you would have to do BEDMAS yourself. Okay, so BEDMAS, bracket, exponent, and then multiplication. So I'll show it I'll show it both ways. So if I were to do it the best BEDMAS way, 1 plus 0.001666666666 equal, and then raise it to the power of 48 equal, and then times it by 2,000. And then you get this amount. $2,166. And what do I round this to? Sorry? 43 cents. That's right.
How do you put the P in 6 again for 16?
This? You would do just push a bunch of 6 on your calculator. Yeah. If I had a nice calculator like this, then I can just simply do 2,000 bracket 1 plus 0.0016666666 like this, close bracket to the exponent 48. So I could type in all this in the calculator at once, and I will get the same answer. Okay, so depending on your calculator, you might have to do the math, or your calculator can do the math for you. Okay. So this is the amount in my account at the end. Whoa, I got $2,000 worth of interest. I'm rich. Did I? How much did I get? What? How did you get that 166? Why do I have to minus that 2,000? I see this amount in my account. Yeah. Where was that 2,000 from? It was yours, right? It was yours to begin with. So in this one, if it asks you how much interest was earned, you would do your amount, take away your principal. So the amount in your account at the end of 4 years, take away the principal, which was how much you had in the account at the beginning. That means just interest. You earn $166.43. And how long did it take? 4 years. Yes. Does this sound good or bad for interest? Who says this is good? I got $166 in 4 years for doing nothing. Who says it's bad? It's only $166 over 4 years. Okay, so no comment. Okay, money is still money. All right, how many of you have a bank account? Okay, when was the last time you checked? When was the last time you checked your balance? No, you haven't, right? Yeah. So if you, unfortunately, if you check, if you just like left it there for like 10 years, you might not even have $166 in there. So then that's because the interest rate that the banks offer right now is very low. All right. This is a realistic example where you put $2,000 in there, you don't do anything, you don't take any money out. They pay 2%, and yeah, that's how little you're gonna get. Okay. But let's say you're a millionaire. Okay. Add in a few zeros in the back of this amount, then that means for the interest you add a few zeros. Okay. So yeah, it seems like it's very little, but the more you deposit, the more you get, the more interest you get. Okay. So is it always 12? So when we do a compounded monthly, it was 12, but is it always 12? So no matter what, whenever we do compound interest, it's always divide by 12 times by 12? No. So sometimes we say there's compounded annually. So if it's annually, what do you divide and times by? Itself, or 1. Okay. All right. What about semi-annually? That means they pay you twice each year, so it's 2. What about quarterly? 4. So you would divide interest by 4 and times n by 4. Oh, well, let's see. What's the next one? Oh, how did you know? Oh, yeah, you have the sheet. See how nice I am? I photocopied the note for you guys. Before I would have them write it out. Bi-weekly.
26.
Okay, what does bi-weekly mean? Yeah. Every 2 weeks. All right, so my paycheck, I get paid every 2 weeks. And then weekly, how many weeks is in a year? What? I don't want to live in your calendar year. So 52 weeks in a year. I have people ask me on the test, Miss, how many weeks is in a year? And I said, you need to know. I can't tell. All right. And then daily, how many days do we have in a year?
5.
365.
Unless it's a leap year.
Yeah. All right. So for the simplicity, do not do 365.25. Just let's do 365. I don't. I only care about leap years every 4 years. Okay. So part C asks Daniel wants to earn more interest because he feels that $166 is way too little. What are 2 things that he could do to earn more money? Yep.
Increase the principal rate.
Okay. Increase the principal. That's right. The more you put in the account, the more interest you receive. Okay. Another. What's another? Yep.
Maybe increase the rate of time. Like instead of 4 years, 12 years.
Okay, so keep the money in longer. Good. Keep the money in the account longer. Okay, so these are all sample answers for your next assignment. So make sure you write these down. What else? Sorry? There. What are things you could do to earn more money? What? Oh, account. Oh, sorry. Account. Yeah. Okay, Diction, my financial advisor.
You could choose a different bank which will
Excellent. Good job. Wow, Diction, I think you're going to do really well in this chapter.
I like money.
You like money? Good answer. Okay. Invest in a bank that offers higher interest rate. Let me zoom this out. Okay, invest in a bank that offers higher interest rate. Anything else that will help me earn more money? Make more money. Yeah, I was actually thinking make more deposits. Make more deposits. Okay, so instead of just leaving $2,000 in there, maybe put in an extra $10 in there every month. That will make a difference. Okay, good. So these are all good reasons. On a test, on EQAO, they love to ask this. Okay, last example. Jeff, he wants to buy a new car priced at $33,000. How many of you plan to buy a car in the future? It doesn't have to be like right after high school, but like eventually you know you're gonna buy a car. Good. A car. An actual car that you drive. Cart. Oh, yeah, but car. A car that you drive. Auto. Okay. He's gonna put $4,000 as down payment and finance the rest of it with CIBC Bank, which offers 3.5% compounded monthly for 5 years. How much does he end up paying for the car at the end? Okay, so good. That was my question, Annie. Good job. So the word compounded monthly tells me I should use this formula. A equals P times 1 plus I to the n. See, if I can memorize it, you can memorize it. Okay. So what's my principal? Ooh, I wish I could get a car that's only worth $4,000.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Petrol says no. No. What is it? Right. Subtract 4,000. 4,000 is $4,000 was the down payment. What does down payment mean? Yep. It's not to buy later on, but you pay it down so that what? So this would mean 29,000. So a lot of people do down payments. Why do they want to do that? So why don't I just keep that $4,000? Why do I want to put it in the car at the beginning? Why do people pay down payments? Alright, it's because they want to lower their principal. So you see now in the formula, instead of 33,000, I'm gonna put in 29,000 in here. Alright, and because my principal is lower, that means I have to pay less interest in the long run. Okay, and then 1 plus I. What is the interest rate? 0.035 because it's compounded monthly divided by 12. So 0.035 divided by 12, you get 0.002916. Right, so 0.002916. And then N. 5 years times 12. Yeah, monthly. 12 months over those 5 years. So that means it's 60. 60. All right. Try it on your calculator. Let's see if we get the same answer. Okay. Yeah. What did you guys get? Okay, Annie, what did you get?
I didn't do it.
Oh, do it. Kira, what did you get? Not yet? Okay. I'll give you guys a... Sophia, did you do the calculation? What about you, Naomi? Okay, let's hear it. What did you get? Annie? Annie?
It's the other question.
Oh. Okay, Kira? Okay, yours and mine is a little off, maybe because you didn't use enough 6 at the end. But so make sure you use a couple more 6, because when you're doing a big amount like this, 33,000, the decimals do make a difference. So $34,537.34. Right, so that's what I got. Okay. So therefore, at the end of 5 years, Jeff paid $34,537. Is that correct? Okay, who says yes, that's correct? Who says no, that's not correct? Oh, okay. So Annie says like no. Was that a guess or you just know me well? All right, Antonia.
Because Chelsea paid for the 4,000 down payment.
Yeah, she paid 4,000 as well. Remember, your original car amount was 33,000. If you paid this, that means you only paid $1,000 worth of interest, which seems way too little, way too good to be true. There was $4,000 that you put down, so you have to add back on the $4,000 that you paid up front, and so how much did you pay for the car at the end? At the end of 5 years, in total, you paid $38,537.34. Okay. How much interest was paid? Roughly. Pedro? Yeah, this was the original amount. This is how much you paid at the end. So at the end of 5 years, you paid about an extra 5,500. Sorry? All right. So you see the difference between example 2 and example 3? Example 2, you were doing an investment, putting in a savings account. So what was the interest? You were earning the interest. But in this example 3, you are borrowing money from the bank. So think about realistically, logically, if you give the bank money and then they pay you interest. So now if you're borrowing money from the bank, what are you doing? Paying them interest. So if you're paying somebody interest, what do you want this percentage to be? Lower, right? When you are paying someone, you want the percentage to be lower. If you are investing in them, putting money in them where they are paying you, then you want the higher interest rate. Okay, so what are 3 things he can do to lower his overall costs? So how can he avoid this $5,500 extra? Do you think that's a lot? 5,500 extra? Who says yes, that's a lot? Who says no? Okay, I want everyone to vote for this one. So he paid an extra 5,500 for the 5 years to get the car. So who says yes, that's reasonable, that's good? Okay, who says no, that's too much money? That's a lot of money, 5,500. Okay, I think that's a lot of money considering that the car is only 33,000. But in reality, what can you do? I need a car. I don't have 33,000 up front, so I have to pay that. Right? Imagine a house, the mortgage, how much interest you pay on a $1 million home. Right? All right. So what are 3 things that we could do then to lower our overall costs? My financial advisor. What are some things that we could do?
Find a bank which gives less.
Right, yeah. So kind of like the opposite. Find a bank that offers a lower interest rate. Because remember, you're paying them, so you want a lower interest rate. Okay. Second financial advisor, Petro. Okay, so a cheaper car. Find a cheaper car. A cheaper car. What does that do? Yeah. So it lowers the principal. What's another way that we can lower the principal? Pay a bigger down payment. Okay. Anything else we could do to lower our overall cost? I'm thinking there's two things, 2 more things that we could do to lower our overall costs. Yep.
Pay in full when you start.
Okay. Petro is rich. Okay. Let's say I can't pay in full like right at the beginning.
Pay in a shorter amount of time.
Shorter amount of time. Good. Yeah. So pay it off sooner. Pay it off sooner. So basically, lowering which variable? If I pay it off sooner, it lowers which variable? N. Yeah. Lower N. So the term. So instead of 5 years, if you can pay it off in 3 years, that will save you a lot of interest. Okay. And one more. Yeah.
Technically, if you just pay it semi-annually, doesn't that mean that's interest?
So good job. See, you are my financial advisor. So pay it more often. So right now it's set to monthly. So I don't want it semi-annually. Semi-annually would actually do the other opposite. So maybe perhaps pay it off daily, pay it off bi-weekly. So pay it more often, and so that would mean instead of monthly, change it to like bi-weekly, for example. Instead of monthly, you can do, for example, bi-weekly. Okay. Why does paying it more often reduce your overall interest? What happens to your principal amount if you keep paying it? Sorry? Yeah, it decreases. So remember, your interest is based on your principal amount, like the amount that's left at the end of each month. So if you pay it more often, instead of monthly, you're doing bi-weekly, that means every 2 weeks, the remaining amount that you have to finance is lower, and so you pay less interest. All right, so those are all really good points, and trust me, EQAO love to ask these. Like, how can you increase the amount? How can you decrease the interest, and so forth? Okay, so just one last conclusion right here. If I invest, you don't have to write this down if you don't want. If I invest, what do I want the interest rate to be? High. I want higher interest. I'm just writing this down on the side. You don't have to copy this down. I just want to do a little summary with you guys. Okay, if I do an investment, I want the interest to be high. And that's because I'm getting money. Okay. The longer I invest, the more money I get. So I want a longer term. Okay. On the flip side, if I am doing a loan meaning I'm borrowing money, what do I want? Yeah, I want interest rate to be lower. Okay, and that's because I am paying money. I'm paying the bank to borrow money. And to decrease my interest, I want to be able to do shorter term. Okay. So these are all financial advices. Okay. So we have and from the discussion that we had in class, I think a lot of you guys are very good with money sense. Okay. So that's all for today's lesson. We have about 25 minutes. I will do homework check tomorrow on this. So these are some practice questions on simple and compound interest. Okay. So music assembly? Yes, we do. Aren't you guys aren't you performing? Yeah?
I am?
I think so. Aren't you?
I don't know. The teacher didn't tell me anything.
Oh. Well, I think everybody who's involved in the last 2 nights are performing tomorrow. So I think you guys will get a call down at 9:30 in the morning to prepare for the assembly. Period 2. No, you won't miss gym. It's gonna be like divided into assembly A, assembly B, assembly C.
So we keep playing and playing and playing?
No, it's 3 different groups that will play. So So like for example, maybe the first one would be choir and band, second one would be string and orchestra, third one would be.
I think it's mostly gonna be seniors, so I don't know. Hopefully it's
No, I know that my grade 10s are going down.
not.
That's why their test has to be today instead of tomorrow because they were gonna get called down at 9:30.
I don't know if that's the teacher.
Yeah, ask them today. Okay, so try these questions. The first page tells you to use simple interest. So these are all simple interests in the first page, and then the second page is the compound. You'll see the word compound in it. Okay, so try it out. Homework check tomorrow.